Well, howdy ho there, folks. How are we doing today? Hopefully you're all doing absolutely peachy keen fantastic. Today, we're going to go ahead and spin this wheel 3 times to determine which Warhammer factions we have to choose from to play our new Total War Warhammer 3 playthrough. Put up a poll, people voted, people said that I should do 3 spins of this and then choose one. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I hope you're ready for this because I've been ready since before time began, but also since a couple minutes ago. Anyway, and one of the only caveats to this is if it lands on ogres, we're going to respin it because they're one of the only ones I just don't want to do a whole entire playthrough for. And I will say that basically the way I'm setting this up is an entire playthrough. What that actually means is either until I achieve my goals and get through, or until they die. So if I die real fast, I might have to go with the other options. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what happens. Big spin, no whammies. Big spin, no whammies. Big spin, no whammies. No whammies. Ooh, Chaos Dwarves. Okay. I've never played Chaos Dwarves upon, well, for a variety of reasons, but one big reason is that John Brown's body lies moldering in the grave, and I want to shoot slavers, not be them. But what if, instead of slaves, I turn them all into cool guys with hats? Huh? Ah, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and see what the next one is. So Chaos Dwarves is the first option. Bretonnia, okay. I've never played Bretonnia. I had a very small Bretonian army, and by Bretonian army what I actually mean is I had like 1 unit of cavalry and some Empire soldiers that I could use as peasants. And then I don't know, I've never been as into Bretonnia. I think they're cool, I think they look pretty, but they're just not really my jam exactly. Okay, now let's go for one more. Come on. Chaos Dwarves and Bretonnia, very different ends of the spectrum there. Ooh, corn, huh? So we have corn, Bretonnia, or Chaos Dwarves. Okay, well, why don't we take a look at them in game and we can decide from there what we want to do. Okay, so we have 3 people to choose from here. Ooh, Bretonnia. Oh. I think, okay, so I would want to play her if I play these guys, so I guess I have to do I have to install? I think I do. She looks kind of funny just floating there. You deem my quest worthy? My quest was always worthy. Do I have Norska on that thing? I almost wondered. Let's see here. I almost wondered if I do, actually. Okay, so a Demons of Chaos. Oh. Is it just corn? It's just corn. Oh man, I'm just automatically... People don't like me and say, you're not even like the coolest corn guy. This really does feel like I've gone to the gym a little too much and now I just want to practice lifting things. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and... I'm not really sure I'm feeling Scarbrand. Okay, but with Chaos Dwarfs, we have 3 different options. Look, I can have a cool man with his handicap mobility assistance. Looks very angry. What about you? End of his bitter exile by the way of blood, fire, and okay. You have a fun hat. Well, those aren't even real skulls, I'm pretty sure. Because those are very small. Oh, that's fun. They're like hanging from his big tusky teeth. Maximum number of active convoys, +1. Recruitment cost, -50 for artillery and war machines. Oh, that's kind of cool. Casualties. Capture post battle 15%, local recruitment capacity, ability sadistic stare. Your hat looks silly. All their hats look kind of silly. Okay, let's hear. Conclave Influence from all sources. Research rate plus 10%. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Control plus 2 per all provinces. I wonder if we can make him smile. Is there a mod that makes him smile? That would be nice. He needs to smile more. And I think that's good because he could get pats on the head from Hushut. Let's see here. Mechanical overdrive. Base weapon damage. Oh, okay. This guy seems like he might be the one I would go with if I was going to go with Chaos Dwarves. Well, let's see here. Peasant economy plus 5 peasants available to the faction. So many peasants are available. They must simp for their Fey Enchantress. Casualty replenishment rate plus 15. Okay. Cavalry plus 4 per turn. Passive ability, the blessings of the lady. Let's see here. Damage resistance. You know, I will do Bretonnia. Actually, you know what? The other one is I like the Joan of Arc lady. Control plus 3, all provinces. Upkeep. Minus 50% for embedded heroes. Melee defense A plus for questing knights. Diplomatic relations minus 80 with vampire counts. Vampire Coast and Doom Kings. Okay. Plus for return. Physical resistance. Okay. I do like this lady. I think she could be kind of cool. And if we're looking at like actually starting a Bretonnia playthrough, she might be the one I'd have to go with. She's also the only one that gives me a female option. I'm assuming Scarbrand is a he. He looks like a he. He's got a beard and he's got gigantic axes and probably huge balls. So probably a he. The Chaos Dwarf guy is kind of interesting and might be a bit different, which I'm kind of down with. This lady would maybe free slaves, maybe. I don't know. I could see her doing it. I'm having a hard time choosing here, but you know what? I think I'm gonna do. Oh, wait, it's here. Build outpost factories and towers to create an interconnected industrial economy while claiming seats of power with Tsar Nagron's political backgrounds to gain powerful houses for your faction. You know what? Just because it's completely different, I'm gonna go ahead and start with this Chaos Dwarf guy. Maybe that'll be a mistake. I guess we'll find out. I like the idea, though, of taking these evil factions and making them less evil. Although, if they have industrialization, why do they have slaves? It doesn't even make sense. You don't need slaves if you start to get to industrialization. I mean, well, you need some people to do work stuff, but you don't need anywhere near the same amount of manpower. So, like, slaves starts to feel like almost like irrelevant isn't the right word, but like not that important. I don't know. I also like their funky hats. I was considering getting like a small group of these guys to paint up and then be like, oh yes, they've been captured by the Catte and now they must serve in the Catte love hug line, and they are not okay with that, but eventually they get okay with that. And I'm back. Okay, so Chaos Dwarfs were a mistake. I did not realize that your entire thing was literally based on slave labor, and that was a key decisive factor. Now look, I know that most of these people are bad, at least in some way, shape, or form. I really just don't really feel like playing a bunch of slavers. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal until I actually sat down and started, and then I played a little bit and I saw what they were actually like. And I gotta tell you, honestly, just was leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Don't really want to do it. Could I play them? Yeah, probably. Do I want to do an entire playthrough of them? No. No is what I have discovered. I actually briefly tried Beastmen a while ago, and I actually think I would have enjoyed them more. Yeah, I know Beastmen just run around breaking shit, but like I feel okay with that in comparison to just like, and now we're going to take everyone in the city and turn them into slaves. Isn't that great? Yeah, I'm not really into that. So I think we're going to be doing Bretonians, but that means that I need to unlock one of these, or unlock these people first. So 1 second. Well, okay, so we ended up trying Bretonia instead because, as I said, I did like just a couple of minutes of Chaos Dwarves, and I was just really, really not a fan of it. I ended up actually really liking this first play of Britannia, though. Bretonia. I'm sorry, Bretonia. Britannia, whatever. And it was really interesting because I think I actually like this faction a lot more than I thought I would, because there's actually a thing which basically means that you're supposed to always be moral, which is the chivalry code thing, which, I mean, not necessarily always moral, but it doesn't make you want to do more moral action as opposed to immoral action in a couple of different ways, and I thought that was pretty cool. Although I think the main way I saw it was that I could use it to like kind of force confederation, but I could also kind of use it to get certain things done. But I was mostly going about this playthrough trying to, in this first part here, get it so that I had a strong base of operations. I wanted to unite as much as Bretonia as I possibly could. And something that ended up being kind of interesting about this is that my main kind of enemy after a little bit ended up being the Barrows Legion, because the undead just kind of kept coming and coming and coming, and it was becoming a thing where they were one of the only ones who was actually attacking and hurting me. There's also an interesting thing. I didn't know this about Bretonia till I started playing here, but you can't actually use all of your peasants in a in your armies, because if you use them all in your armies, then you actually don't have anybody to work the land, and it causes problems. So you can only recruit a certain amount depending on your population and stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of an interesting little way to do it, and it also really encouraged me to get more knights and things like that early on. And although I have to say, I had a largely peasant army under the Fey Enchantress, and by upgrading their abilities and getting them to be just better in combat, they ended up being actually pretty good. And they were doing pretty good overall. I was able to also recruit them fairly quickly, and they were, pretty cheap. I ended up also getting more and more stuff in terms of trying to upgrade with my knights. And I was also trying to do a lot of stuff where I was negotiating with those around me and trying to get more and more like things going on where I could have more of the other Bretonians kind of come under my command, and we could kind of move together. And I ended up making some pretty good friends with a couple of them, because one of the nice things about Bretonia is they have a bunch of different things that let you basically do a lot of diplomatic action, sending your stuff out and trying to talk to other people and trying to get them to kind of join your cause and things like that, which is pretty cool. I really enjoyed being able to do that, and I really enjoyed being able to go a more diplomatic route. So in a funny way, Bretonia actually kind of ended up being, I almost felt like it was kind of perfect for me, because they had these moral standards that I liked, that I couldn't just, go around doing whatever I wanted. And then they also had these pretty fun peasant units, which, I mean, I would treat my peasants well, and I'm the Fey Enchantress, so I can do whatever I want. But it was pretty cool to see that, and to see these different units kind of coming and helping me out, and being really decent at stuff like that. And also, I unlocked a pony pretty early on, because it's Bretonia, so I should. But I unlocked a cool horse, a cool unicorn to ride on. And it's also funny because Nicar was only over here for like a couple of minutes, but they managed to make everything pink. But then, honestly, that went away really fast after I beat him. I spent a good portion of this first, I think I got to like turn 30 or so, somewhere in there. I think I played it it was like a couple hours. I managed to get a pretty decent way into it and managed to get pretty alright, but a lot of it was I was actually spent in poverty, where I couldn't build up enough forces. So I ended up having a whole thing where I kind of had like one, I basically had the Fey Enchantress and kind of no other army, and she was going around doing like all my work for me. Eventually, when I got to the other, got another group of Bretonnians into my confederation, then it wasn't so bad, and then I had um, a much better time moving forward and doing things, because then I had two armies. They also gave me three, but one was just a prophetess with like barely any soldiers, so I was just like, nah, just nah. Now, one thing I tend to do is a strategy, and I don't necessarily know if it's good, is I tend to try to have fewer armies that are just bigger and stronger. I think that's called building tall. Yeah, I think that's building tall. I could be misusing that. Forgive me if I am, but I tend to have just a couple of armies that are really, really strong, and I tend to have like a focus to them, and I tend to have them going out and doing their things. The only problem with that is you kind of need to watch out your borders then, because if people start invading and you haven't built up like a bunch of castles, a bunch of defenses and things like that, what you kind of end up getting into is everybody's gonna like just come in and take your stuff if they can get past your first person, which was rather annoying. I also spent a good portion of this game just trying to kill Heinrich Himmler and all of the stupid Barrows Legion bullshit. He ended up, well, okay. So basically, I ended up killing him and almost everybody in. Actually, no, I killed everybody of his in my lands, but he had somebody that was like out in the east in the Empire, and I kept killing him and killing all of his stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to accept the peace treaty with you because you're a bad guy, and I want to punish you. But the truth is that he's just sort of, you know, being a butt munch, because I would kill him and then he would go out there and then I just couldn't get to him. Which was pretty annoying, unless I wanted to trespass against a lot of the Empire. And of course, you would hope that someone in the Empire would deal with them, but they kind of didn't. But yeah, it's also kind of interesting because I don't know what exactly I was expecting to fight at first as a Bretonnian, and I think I should have just expected to fight a lot of undead and of course ground the punch, because I know ground the punch started over there. But what I ended up doing more and more was just like destroying a lot of the undead as the game went on, and it took a little while to get to the point where I could actually do that. At first it was kind of slow going, and eventually we got to a point where I had my warriors being able to move further in and being able to destroy things that, were kind of more of a problem. I will say that I'm actually very glad that I ended up switching to Bretonnia, because I could have looked past the bad stuff with Chaos Dwarves. I don't really know if I would have liked them that much, but I could have maybe looked past this stuff, but I actually ended up liking Bretonnia way more than I thought I would. They actually ended up suiting me a good deal better than I was expecting them to, which is kind of interesting because, all their class society type bullshit that I don't really care for. But hey, man, it's okay. I am the noble knight who treats people well with big lance and sword, and I'm so cool. Did you know I'm cool? But yeah, it was also pretty cool to have things like this Pyrrhic victory cost me a lot, but being able to back up a little bit and use my better deployment to beat the crap out of some vampires and some necromancers is pretty stellar in my personal opinion. I was really enjoying it. I actually ended up not really fighting in the game in terms of I was almost always doing auto resolve, because basically almost every time I got into it, it was close victory. It was either close victory or decisive victory or decisive defeat. There was very little valiant defeat or anything like that. And the couple of times there were, I was like, okay, well, if I retreat back and stuff like that, I can actually get these guys to get into a worse position and get them killed and stuff like that. So I ended up using that a lot. I also ended up getting the Fey Enchantress to level 15 in just a few turns, and that was pretty cool. And being able to use her and being able to recruit for all these stuff. It was also kind of fun to take over these big vampiric castles and then just be like, no, no, they are bretonnia. I don't know why I keep going, but I guess it's just like the fake French accent is very fun. But yeah, I ended up really enjoying a lot of this stuff. I will also say I like the armor, I like the look of a lot of the units. Um, I think that they are pretty good, and I'm glad that this ended up being one of the ones I chose. And I think I might play them more in the future and try to get more involved in that. I also found that because I was able to become allies with people around me so easily, it made it a lot easier to just kind of move about and do things and not have to worry specifically about like how am I going to expand territory? How far can I expand to the south or to the west or to wherever? And you know, sometimes if you just do nothing, it's kind of interesting. You can basically, once you research some of these technologies, you can just like force the people to immediately go with you and be on your side. But honestly, it was pretty easy to just wait a few turns and then do it because I was making friends so fast that I didn't have to force anybody to like bend the knee and accept fealty to me or anything like that. And you know, it was also cool because we had the Lady of the Lake, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna call that the Divine Mother, and you can't stop me. I mean, you can, but you can't. Haha. Um, in terms of the land we started into, and I know this is a very minor point, but I would like to just like to say the Britannia seems really pretty, and it had lots of it has lots of nice colorful banners and things like that, and that's kind of cool. I kind of want to see if I can eventually maybe get into more of an alliance, maybe with the Empire and like the next part, and like really try to make it so that maybe we can get into a defensive alliance and I can maybe help them out. And maybe I can get Karl Franz to come along with me. I think that would be pretty cool. And by running around and like reclaiming a lot of territory, I think I ended up having a pretty good time with it. I also will say that in terms of hero upgrades, I almost always focus very much on getting the units that I think I'm going to use, even if it's just for a little bit and it's just like early on, getting the units I'm going to use and getting them better and better into positions where like you have even like one of them and they're just gonna absolutely hit like a truck and really help out like the larger war effort and things like that. And it was also really cool to see like just the various different units kind of working together. I think in the future would I do more knights? Probably. I'd probably do less footmen and more knights, but honestly by having both of them together it was pretty good at being able to face most of the people I was coming up against. Uh, One of the main things ended up being, you can see there, I think 90 to get the Confederation, but I think it went pretty good, and you know, being able to beat the crap out of Heinrich Kemmler over and over again was kind of funny because this was the last time he was actually here in the lands. We managed to kill him, but then he, or will wound him, whatever, and then he got sent away. But then, yeah, he was just not in the land anymore. Um, it was also pretty interesting because by being able to align myself as well with the Wood Elves early on, I was just in a very good position. I think this is going to be a good position to continue a campaign from here and really have some fun. Um, I want to see if I can get like an alliance going with the Empire so I can get some handgunners and some cannons and a couple of things like that. I know, dishonorable, you want to get close to your enemy. No, no, no. I should say enemy and they go down. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really glad we decided to do this. Thanks so much for stopping by, and yeah, come check it out next time. And I love you. God loves you. Bye bye. Love you. Bye. Have a great one.